It was a big deal when this old house came to Austin. And that was a great remembrance of that time when they were here. Well, now we're going to be turning our attention to growing green. And Denise Delaney, who's the Grow Green Coordinator for the City of Austin, is with us. And welcome back to the program.
Great, thank you.
There's so much that you guys have been doing. You've got so many great resources available to the public. Our intention here for the next few minutes is just give people a taste of that. So I'm very excited. When I see some of the things that y'all have created, I think, wow, the City of Austin is really leading the pack on this.
Well, we're trying really hard, thanks.
Yeah. Now, it all started off a long time ago with the Adapted and Native Plant booklet, which is commonly available now in nursery centers all across Central Texas. That is really kind of an essential thing for a lot of home gardeners.
It is. I see people carrying it around in the nurseries, and it's a great condensed version of things that really do well here in Central Texas. And since the Grow Green program started, we've given out over 500,000 of those. So
500,000.
Yes. So it's very popular, and we're thrilled that people find it useful.
Well, and I'm sure that the payoff to the city really has been tremendous in that lots of water savings, people gardening with plants that are much better adapted than they used to be. So it's really for the public good.
Well, and that's what we're trying to do, is keep Austin the best city to live in anywhere.
Yeah, well, and this is, again, available in the nurseries, but they could probably, almost anything that we're going to talk about today is going to be available on the web too, right?
Yes, at growgreen.org. We have all this information in PDF format, but a lot of times people like, especially the book, they like to have it in their hands and carry it around with them, but we definitely have it all available online too.
All right. Well, for those who are especially new to gardening in Central Texas or are converting from kind of a traditional, let's say traditional in the sense that there's a water hog garden, to something that makes a little more sense for Central Texas, this is a great tool to have in your arsenal. So I hope people will avail themselves of that. And there are all sorts of other kinds of things that are available online as well in terms of landscaping tips, and things about pesticides, chemical fertilizers, etc., right?
We have a whole series of fact sheets, and those are available in the nurseries and most of the home improvement centers on aphids and beetles and caterpillars and fire ants. So if you have a problem in your landscape, you can find that information when you're trying to decide if you even need a pesticide, and then it tells you the least toxic products that you can use to accomplish, if you're trying to get rid of something.
Well, I think that's a terrific way to go. So integrated pest management kind of theory in a way is like, use the least toxic things first.
Right. Well, the first thing is to figure out what the problem is, or if you even have a problem.
There you go.
Before you decide if you even need to treat it. But yes, if you do decide there's an issue, then we hope that you'll do the least toxic way and the most common sense way. Sometimes it's just taking a blast of water to knock those aphids or spider mites off your plant. You have to be a little diligent about it, but it means no pesticides.
It works very, very well.
It
and
does.
For those of us who are nervous about the pesticides, it certainly takes a load of pressure off as
Yes,
well.
yes.
Well, one of the things that I'm really excited about that we're going to kind of focus on today are design templates that you've created for people. And these cover all sorts of different landscaping scenarios. And just to kind of lay out what these things are, they're little pamphlets, but they contain suggested plants and designs for all different kinds of settings, right?
Yes, right now we have 9 different topics. So there's one for wildlife habitat garden, there's one for drainage issues, shade gardening. But the neat thing about them, besides having a planting planet, is for most of them, you can actually go see the garden.
Yeah.
So we have one, it's called Contemporary Design, and it's based on City Hall. So you get the brochure, you go to City Hall, look at the gardens, and get some ideas about what you might want to do in your own landscape.
Well, and to me, that's the coolest thing about this, is that not only do you have kind of a design template, and design is a kind of mysterious thing to a lot of people.
Yeah,
it's
not
a little
easy.
intimidating.
Yeah.
So having somebody point you in the right direction in terms of how to lay out the garden,
Right.
And then you, on top of that, you layer in the plant suggestions.
And all the plants that are in those designs are in the plant guide,
Right.
so it all ties together.
Right, and then you can get to, you know, actually visit the garden that's pictured in the brochure and see how it all comes together on the ground.
Yeah, we're trying to give people all the tools that they need to make it as easy as possible for them to have a nice garden.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. There's a lot of things to be considered, but if you take all these pieces together, hopefully you'll have a successful landscape.
Yeah. Now, I want to step through some of the particulars on these some of these different brochures because I think it would give people a real taste of them.
Okay.
I want to start with a contemporary one because I love the gardening around the garden around City Hall. Absolutely love it. I love the stonework there is phenomenal. The use of native grasses, counterpointed by things like agaves.
Yeah.
Very strong structural garden, very bold, hence, I guess, the contemporary thing.
Well, yes, and it's also, because a lot of times it's the hardscape that defines the theme of the garden, and definitely at City Hall it's very contemporary. But those gardens are also based on different ecoregions of Texas. So you have the East Texas bed and the West Texas bed, and so it was designed that way as well.
Oh, cool. And that's something I hadn't even really realized. But so people can go down there and again, with this brochure in hand and really learn about how to lay out the garden. One of the other ones that we want to focus on here has to do with gardening for kids. Now, let's talk about the kids gardening brochure. For example, what's a kid-friendly plant? Why would you select one plant over another for a garden that's for children?
Well, I think either if it has a story behind it or it has a really cool flower or some kind of fragrance. For instance, bat face cufia. If you look at the flower, it looks like a little bat face. And how fun is that for kids to learn something like that? Or
it's fun for adults, too, I
yeah.
have to say.
Or lamb's ear. It's real fuzzy and really soft, and so they can touch it and you know, have an interaction with the plant besides just looking at it.
And in this particular brochure, too, it has suggestions for incorporating play spaces into the garden, like sandboxes and things like that, where children can be outdoors and have their own little exploratoriums, if you will.
Well, and we don't have a design brochure for it yet, but a big thing now is little fairy gardens. And I went on one of the garden tours, and they had this whole little fairy garden set up for these little girls. It was very sweet, but that's kind of a gardening fad these days.
So the little princesses get to go out into the little fairyland. It's just like, it's a different world out there. Okay, well, another one, and I really like the cover on this one. I know you do too. It's the deer-resistant garden design.
Yeah. Well, there are certain areas of Austin that have deer in their landscapes, and of course it's a challenge. So, you know, and we know that the deer eat something different in Wimberley than they do in Westlake, but general guidelines, if they're thorny or very aromatic, so when they taste it, it doesn't taste good, like
lantana or salvias, anything with that kind of herby leaf.
Yeah, the Mexican mint marigold and Copper Canyon daisy, and of course all the agaves and all the things that have a lot of thorns on them are good.
Right. Yeah. And so, again, just to reiterate, people can, when they have that brochure, they can visit a garden that has been designed for that purpose and see how the plants relate to one another, too, which is an important thing. It's not enough to give people just a list of plants.
Right.
But where to place them and how to mass them together sometimes is really important, and the brochures really suggest that too.
Well, and you can see what they look like at different times of year too, because our plants do change. Now, the easiest way to get those templates is to go to growgreen.org and click on the landscape templates box, and then you can actually order the ones that you'd like, and we'll just mail them to you.
Okay.
Some of the nurseries have them, but not everybody carries them. So the easiest way to get them is just to order them.
And that's so great that y'all will do that. You can order them, see them online, then order them, and get a really nice hard copy, something that will stand up to carrying around in the nursery, for example.
Right, but you can also print them out if you're one of those people that wants on a piece of paper. But
well, the final one that I wanted to mention just real briefly, and this is one that a lot of people have to deal with, is shade.
Have to deal with or get to deal with.
Yeah, right.
We like having shade here in Central Texas.
We do. It's needed.
But it can be a challenge, and a lot of times you're using plants that have more texture, or you know, like cast iron plant is a good old standby. Inland sea oats is a great textural plant that does well in the shade. That bat-faced cupia will do well there.
So lots of more suggestions there. And again,
Yeah.
people can find all that. Real briefly, I want to mention the fact that coming up in February,
Yes.
there's the Grow Green Festival.
Yes.
Right. And we have beside me a door prize that's going to be part of that. Very briefly, tell me about the event.
Well, it's on February 27th at Zilker. It'll be from 12:30 to 4:30, and it's the Green Garden Festival. It's 5 different city departments that get together and put on events like this. It's free. Come out with your gardening questions. Bring the kids. We hope it's nice weather.
All right. Okay. It should be a great time for people to really access fantastic information. Congratulations on all the great work that you're doing down there. These are
Thanks.
wonderful resources for our area gardeners. And coming up next, it's our friend Daphne.